Found out husband, 25 male, is cheating on me, 24 female, and I haven't told him yet that I know plus update. The 2-year anniversary of my marriage to my spouse, 25 years old, will be celebrated in February. We have been together for a year and a half. We've known each other since college, and he's always been a wonderful husband and companion to my wife and myself. Strangely, he's been a lot more attentive lately than he usually is, and honestly, it felt fantastic to have a friend who cared so much about you, and I had no clue it was all a ruse until I discovered it. Without my request to use his phone to contact my parents, who live in another country, I would not have suspected anything. His phone plan includes international free minutes, and I requested to use his phone to contact them. He refused, claiming he had used up all of his international free minutes. When I asked how many were left, he grew agitated since he was playing on his PlayStation 5 and just wanted to be left alone to enjoy his game. I wrote it off as stress, but something in the back of my mind encouraged me to look into it more. On subsequent days, if I inquired about his phone, he grew defensive. One such instance was the other day, when he offered me his phone but hung over me the whole time, then took it immediately and said he needed it for business purposes. It should be noted that I just sought to use his PayPal account and did not get access to any of his social networking programs. In all honesty, I'll admit that my curiosity got the better of me as I pretended to go through my phone. I'd make a mental note of his passcode. It took me a long time to figure it out, but I finally did. It was when he was asleep that the phone was not in his possession, so I yesterday night and started hunting for it. Fortunately, there was nothing in his contacts or recent talks that indicated he was having an affair, but when I looked through his WhatsApp archives, I discovered that he had been having an affair all along. He's cheating on me with a coworker whom I've met several times, and she'd be the last person I'd expect to find out about it. She is 38 years old, married, and the mother of a 12-year-old son. After going through all of their speeches, I'm disgusted. The fact that he hit her in the stomach and told her he loved her made me feel like I was going to vomit. While she was gone on vacation, he told her, "I can't wait to see you, and I wish your husband wasn't here so I could pick you up from the airport and hug you. I'm honestly feeling numb. My heart has been broken into a million pieces since I told him I was sick and couldn't get out of bed this morning." After that, he inquired as to whether he should transport me to the doctor, to which I just said that I would ask a friend to do so, and he then left the room. This is something I'm not sure how to approach him about. A part of me wants answers, but another part of me wants to believe that this isn't real in order to keep my marriage together. If he has already declared his affections for her, there isn't much left to rescue the situation. Even while I'm overwhelmed with emotions, including fury and scorn, I'm absolutely broken, and I've been questioning myself, wondering whether I've made a mistake somewhere. I'm well aware that I shouldn't be thinking in this manner, but I can't seem to stop myself. I'm completely at a loss as to what to do next. He'll be back at his house in a couple of hours. Initially, I pondered destroying everything in the house so that he could see how he had destroyed our home, and then I considered leaving without alerting him, but I also wanted to know the truth. I'm at a loss as to what to do at this point. Edit. I apologize for not responding sooner, but a lot is going on at the same time, and I need to organize my thoughts. Thank you for your patience. Edit 2. Hello everyone, I'm now on my way home on a plane. I have motion sickness on aircraft, so I can't stare at phone displays for long, but I just wanted to let you know that I spoke with my spouse. The short version is that he is also on the next flight back home, that we lived in an Islamic nation, and that adultery is a felony for which he might be imprisoned for months if his spouse files a complaint on him. So he was definitely more concerned with himself than with our marriage. I don't feel anything for him right now, not even rage. I believe I'll be able to organize my belongings after a few days of deliberation. Thank you so much for all of your kind words and best wishes. You've all been incredible. Update. To say the least, it's been a crazy few days for me. While I was still responding to everyone, the spouse of the affair partner responded to my direct message. I wrote him a simple "Hi, can you please react to this?" It's sort of essential message, and despite the fact that his profile seemed to be dormant, he responded rather soon. I went straight to the point so I wouldn't back down and informed him about his wife and my husband's affair, explained that they worked together, and showed him images of the WhatsApp communication. Reminding you that I hadn't yet confronted my own husband with everything since he hadn't yet gotten home from work, and it was still a few hours until he typically did. I suppose the husband confronted his wife, and my husband found out via her. but it was evident he knew since he didn't come at his normal time that night. I was considering packing things and leaving without notifying him, but I believe I needed explanations from him as to why he'd do such a thing to me. When it occurred to me that this guy is a coward and that I should just go for my own good, I bought a trip back home and departed for the airport before he even arrived. I was at the airport waiting for the results of my COVID test when he phoned and asked where I was. I told him, "Part of me wants to laugh and part of me wants to mourn at what occurred next. This situation would never have occurred to me in my wildest thoughts. He tells me to wait for him and that we'll both board the next flight after this one. When I ask him why I should bother waiting for him, he tells me it's all due of my idiocy. Adultery is a felony punishable by at least a few months to a year in an Islamic nation, so if her husband files a complaint, he might wind himself in prison. He essentially tells me to remain put and we'll chat when I get to the airport. I tell him I'm going and that since he knew the law and I didn't, he should have considered carefully before sleeping with someone else's wife. After that, I switched off my phone and waited for my flight, which arrived a few hours later. Now that I'm back home, everything is starting to make sense. It's clear that my marriage can't continue on. I have no love for the man who, instead of apologizing or even confronting me, ended up asking me how could you, and making me the bad person. His parents have even blamed me of damaging their son's job, claiming that when his employer found out, he fired him and his AP and blacklisted him, making it impossible for him to get another work visa for that nation. Also, because he left so quickly, many things were left unresolved, such as the fact that we had paid the entire year's rent in advance and still had a few months left on the lease, as well as things like the furniture and monthly bills. So now he's scrambling to get his friends to suspend everything and sell off the furniture, and his parents are angry at the amount of stress I've caused their son. Thankfully, my parents, the majority of our friends, and even the majority of his family are on my side and believe that he is the one who messed up. Many of you advised I do something to exact retribution, but none of this was my aim, nor do I get any pleasure from it. I also have no intention of demanding anything from the divorce. I can earn my own money, and there's nothing he can offer me that would alleviate the anguish and grief I've been experiencing over the last several days. I'm not criticizing those who seek alimony. I'm simply stating I'd rather cut all connections and get this over with as quickly as possible. I want to go on with my life and have already contacted my previous job about rejoining the firm, to which they said I could return anytime I wanted, and I'm reconnecting with all old pals I lost touch with while living overseas. Husband has intimated that he wants to communicate and perhaps reconcile, but I've set a hard only talk via my lawyer rule and made it plain that this would never happen. I'm not sure whether this is a good update, but here is the present situation. My divorce may take a long, maybe even a year, since courts normally grant couples a few months if one party wants reconciliation and isn't ready to have an uncontested divorce, so for the time being, this guy is still technically my spouse, but emotionally he's a total stranger to me. I appreciate all of your love and support. The advice you all offered was excellent. As a result of your efforts, I am presently represented by counsel and all communications are routed via him.